Shalom Aleichem. What makes people unforgettable? Sometimes it's not how they welcomed you in, but it's how they walked you out. Just this week, 2 days ago, my wife and I met with Jesse Rosen, the new director of the JCC in Cleveland. He's warm, he's bright, full of vision, someone genuinely eager to deepen Jewish experiences in our city, and very capable. We sat together for over an hour, getting acquainted, sharing ideas, Jewish geography, sharing ideas about how my mitzvah workshops can partner with his mission to bring meaningful, family-centered Judaism to even more life and more people. Jesse's engaging, the kind of person you instantly connect with. But what struck me most wasn't the meeting itself. It was how it ended. When we finished talking, he didn't just wave goodbye from behind his desk. He stood up, walked us down the long corridor, slowly, warmly, like he wasn't in a hurry for it all to end, all the way out to the front door. It almost felt too much. But it was beautiful. That slow, thoughtful walk turned a pleasant meeting into a very memorable one, and also reminded me of something closer to home. My mother, may she be healthy and well, has been doing this for as long as I can remember. Every time we visited Cleveland, since I was a teenager, a bacher in yeshiva, and after I got married, we'd come with the family to visit. She'd never say goodbye from the kitchen table, even till today, after she was unfortunately diagnosed with Parkinson's, and it's difficult for her to get up and walk. It's hard, but she insists on coming outside, and whoever comes to visit her, she blesses the visitors with a safe trip. She hands us a few coins for tzedakah, shliach mitzvah. It's called for protection for the way. And she stands outside, mumbling words of blessing, watching us until we drive off, until we turn the corner. I assume she goes back inside afterwards, but I've actually never seen it, so I can't know for sure. These moments, walking someone out, aren't trivial. They touch on something ancient and sacred, that one of the Torah's forgotten commands. It's not a new idea. We actually learn it from Avraham Avinu in this week's Torah portion. Avraham, our forefather, the original host. Rambam Maimonides talks about the mitzvah of hospitality. And he says we learn from Avraham that it's not the food or the drink, it's the escort that trumps it all. Schar levaya, are the words in Hebrew. Schar halivui, meruba mikulam. The reward for accompanying a guest exceeds them all. Exceeds the food, the drink, the couch. Whoever does not accompany his guest, the Rambam Maimonides quotes the Talmud, it's as if he sheds blood. Strong words. Why? When someone walks out, when you walk them out, you're saying without words, you matter. You aren't just a visitor. You belonged here. And that moment at the door is where the greatest dignity is given. You could feed a person without making them feel seen. You can serve the finest meal and still make someone feel unwanted. But when you rise and walk to the door, figuratively, you're saying to them, I enjoyed you. I want a few more minutes, a few more moments. And that is true hospitality. The meal fills the body, but the goodbye fills the soul. We all know this famous story in this week's Torah portion, Vayeira, where Avram, he's 99 years of age, recovering from his circumcision, and he's being visited by God Almighty himself. Avram sees 3 strangers appear in the horizon. Avram runs out of his blazing hot tent. I mean, the tent hopefully had AC 4,000 years ago, and he runs to greet them. So think about it. God himself is visiting you. The Shekhinah, the divine presence, is literally in your tent. And you say, hold on, God, I have to make some sandwiches for 3 dusty travelers. Who does that? That's Avraham. And that's where we learn from that hosting guests is even more important than conversing with God. So you can picture it. The patriarch of monotheism, Avraham Avinu, sprinting through the sand to serve the travelers he doesn't even know. He brings water, bread, butter, milk, 3 calves, so each can have his own tender tongue, the best cut of the meat. It's actually delicious if you eat meat. There's warmth, there's generosity. There may even be laughter. And when the meal is over, when the meal is done, Avram doesn't collapse in exhaustion. He escorts them out and he walks them to the door and beyond. And that's the detail that the Rambam, Maimonides, can't get over. He says Avram's greatness is not in what he gave them to eat, but how he made them feel as they left afterwards. A guest doesn't only need food, sometimes even more important, they need belonging. When you walk them to the door, you're saying, I enjoyed you. I want a few more moments with you. And that's the moment that the guest truly relaxes, as we did 2 days ago at the JCC with Jesse Rosen. So the meal can fill the body, but the goodbye fills the soul. And I want to thank, parenthetically, Michael Siegel for making that connection, because it was a fruitful one, God willing. So, but I did learn something beautiful, again, from Jesse, that part of, possibly the deepest part of Hachnasat Orchim, of inviting guests, isn't opening the door, but walking to it. Not saying come in, but saying don't rush to leave. And the Torah takes it a little further, getting a little deeper, that the word for escort here, accompaniment, is levaya. And it's the same word we use for accompanying someone to their final rest. Levayat hamet, a funeral. It's called a levaya. And it's also called a chesed shel emet, a true kindness, the truest kindness, because it can never be repaid. No one's getting up to thank you for coming to their funeral. And if they do, it's kind of spooky. Maybe in a dream, or God willing when Mashiach comes. And that is also the truest expression of Hachnasat Orchim, of inviting guests. Escorting someone in life or in death is the moment we're saying to them, you are not alone. Whether it's a guest leaving your home or a soul leaving this world, we accompany them step by step as far as we can until it gets dangerous. The Rebbe once pointed out that when Avraham left God wanting to serve his guests, God didn't rebuke him. He smiled. He was happy. Because that's what God does. God himself doesn't just invite us into this world and say, good luck, deal with it. God walks with us every step of the way, every mile, until we reach home. And that's the Jewish story. That's the story of Jewish history. For the whole world too. But for us, our journey began at Lech Lecha, the first exile, last week's Torah portion. God said to Avram, go, hit the road, Jack. Hit the road, Abraham. And he didn't stand there figuratively hosting this play, watching from heaven. He's our companion on the road. When we walk through darkness, God walks beside us. It's right there in the Tehillim. When we stumble, he waits to help us. Wherever we arrive, somewhere new, he's already there, holding the door open, like the famous footsteps in the sand. Avram taught us what it means to imitate God, not to sit on a throne dispensing kindness from above, but to get up, move toward the other, and accompany them. And that is divine hospitality. God doesn't just receive his children, he escorts them through life. And that is one of the secrets to Avram's greatness. He wasn't just a believer in God, he was a reflection of God. And we are called to do the same, to reflect God. We're created in God's image, and we're meant to live in with God's characteristics. And the Rebbe himself, our great Rebbe, when guests would come for Tishrei, for the high holidays, thousands, sometimes tens of thousands, would come to 770 Eastern Parkway. And I remember this myself. I saw it with my own eyes. When they would leave afterwards, there would be buses and buses of airport buses idling outside waiting, filled up with all the people who were leaving back to Israel and other countries. And the Rebbe stood there singing, and all the whole crowd would sing and dance, and the Rebbe would wave them and stand there and wave until the last bus left. When great dignitaries came, Menachem Begin visited the Rebbe escorted him to his car. The Rebbe didn't say goodbye from his desk. When the chief rabbis of Israel, two chief rabbis, Mordechai Eliyahu and Avram Shapiro, the Sephardic and Ashkenazic chief rabbis of Israel, came to visit the Rebbe at 770. They spoke, and one day left. The Rebbe walked them to the door and stood there for 25 minutes. And people calculated later it was till the time they reached the airport. Literally. The Rebbe teaches us what Avram taught us. His gaze accompanied them, a heavenly escort to the airport. God doesn't want or need our politeness. He wants our partnership. He wants us to make people feel seen and do what he's doing all day. We live in a world of is great at openings. Open houses, open minds, brains fall out. Open hearts, but not so good at endings. The escort, that moment that you stand up and walk together and linger just a little bit longer, you're restoring the forgotten part of the art of hospitality. True hospitality doesn't end at the table. It begins at the door. The meal fills the body, but the goodbye fills the soul. God bless you. Have a wonderful day, wonderful week, a wonderful year, a wonderful life. I'm escorting you in this goodbye as I can. And this is something that I need to work on too, and most people do, besides for my mother and Jessie Rosen. God bless you. Take care.